the Tourism Ministry has retained the previous plan of reopening the borders to international visitors. Vietnam's air carriers are speeding up recruitment for resumed operations. Russia recommends Vietnam among safe tourist destinations. Those are the topics we will discuss in today's video update. So please stay tuned until the end of our video. Now let's start. The Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism has submitted to the government a plan to open tourism from March 15, after synthesizing opinions from relevant ministries. On the morning of March 3, the chairman of Vietnam National Administration of Tourism, Mr. Nguyen Trung Khanh, said that the plan to open tourism has been submitted to the government, in which many proposed regulations have been kept the same as in the previous plan, instead of following some tightening suggestions of the Ministry of Health on February 26. The condition for visitors to be allowed to come to Vietnam is to have a negative result within 72 hours before their flights to Vietnam, instead of after arrival as proposed by the Ministry of Health. The document that states this regulation is very consistent with reality, since passengers in the faraway markets with long flight periods, or who encounter force majeure cases, or experience delays can find it easy to enter later. This content is agreed upon by agencies such as the Private Economic Research and Development Department, the Tourism Advisory Council, the Vietnam Tourism Association. The certificate of full vaccination or the proof of COVID recovery will remain effective. The plan has retained its initial requirement that within the first 24 hours foreign visitors head straight to their place of residence to perform nCoV tests. Guests entering by land and by sea to be tested at the border gates. And those who are negative for COVID-19 are allowed to participate in travel activities, and they don't have to wait any longer. The document also states that this regulation aims at equality for tourists, regardless of international or domestic visitors, which is also favorable for visitors and attracts more travelers to Vietnam. Previously, the Ministry of Health had the opinion that visitors should be required to stay in the place of residence for the first 24 hours from the time of entry, and during the 72 hours should not leave the place of residence. If they want to leave, they must have a daily nCoV test. It also suggested that unvaccinated children should be self-isolated for 7 days and tested each day. Well, these are really unnecessary. The ministry also suggested that no more administrative procedures for businesses when reopening tourism activities. Because when reopening, businesses had to comply with regulations and plans to ensure safety during their operations. The Ministry of Public Security previously commented that travel companies need to develop plans and clearly state the process of operating their company's tour program and send it to the competent authority for review. In addition, the ministry also proposed to restore the visa policy as before the pandemic. The PC COVID app, which all visitors have to use during their stay in Vietnam, is also agreed to be applied. However, it is necessary to improve this application soon to support visitors. Also, it's necessary to complete the procedures and issue COVID-19 vaccination certifications for Vietnamese tourists to travel abroad. The official plan to welcome visitors to Vietnam will be approved by the government before March 15. Many airlines in Vietnam have accelerated recruiting pilots and other positions to feed their operation recovery plans as the country reopened all its international routes on February 15, after nearly 2 years of disruption due to COVID-19. Carriers such as Vietjet Air, Bamboo Airways, and Viet Travel Airlines have recently published recruitment advertisements for captains, first officers, pilots, flight attendants, and other staff to speed up their resumed services. Bamboo Airways has announced on its website a plan to enroll captains and first officers for B787 wide-body aircraft at monthly salaries of $13,300 and $8,000, respectively. The corresponding salary rates for narrow-body aircraft such as Airbus and Embraer 190 are $10,450 and $6,300 per month. Vietjet Air has also unveiled its plan to recruit the same positions for Airbus A320F and A330 aircraft from now until the year end. Meanwhile, Viet Travel Airlines has yet to disclose salaries for pilots and flight attendants to be employed. The same aggressive recruitment has been taking place at ground service providers. The number of flights has been on the rise since Vietnam restored all international routes since mid-February with no frequency restrictions, and it will continue increasing as the country will fully reopen international tourism on March 15. Due to the pandemic that hit the country in early 2020, the Vietnamese government closed borders in March that year, with an exception for Vietnamese repatriates, foreign experts, diplomats, investors, skilled workers, and students, who are allowed to enter the Southeast Asian country if they meet strict quarantine requirements. After COVID-19 social distancing periods at various levels, the government decided to ease restrictions and reopen the economy in a strategy of living safely with the coronavirus, while speeding up vaccination, since October 1 last year. The Russian government has listed Vietnam among current safe tourist destinations without any restrictions, along with China, Egypt, India, Tunisia, Turkey, and the UAE. The recommendations announced by the Federal Agency for Tourism of Russia on March 2 came as the US and many European countries closed their airspaces to Russian flights and imposed sanctions on Moscow following the war in Ukraine. Russian authorities have advised their citizens not to travel to countries that have imposed sanctions and restrictions on it, since they could be barred from returning home in a timely and safe manner. The Russian Tourism Agency believed that some destinations, including several Latin American countries, will no longer be available to Russian tourists due to airspace restrictions. From March 15, Vietnam will fully reopen inbound tourism, with foreign tourists allowed to visit the country without booking tour packages. In 2019, the year before the onset of the COVID pandemic, Vietnam received a record 646,000 tourists from Russia, making it the sixth largest tourism source market after China, South Korea, Japan, and the US. We have reached the end of today's video update. If you think the update is helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more updates. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.